Hi, everyone. I have a really nice interview for you today. I'm really excited to share this. We have Brittany here. She's been one of my lovely clients. We could talk a little bit more about her journey so far, not just with POTS, but with other illnesses she's dealing with. So, Brittany, thank you very much for taking the time today to chat. We'll be talking a little bit about her journey, the progress she's made so far with her health, and this is super helpful for others in a similar place, diagnosed with obviously similar problems. And I think others can get a lot of insight from your journey so far. So, start by telling us a little bit about yourself, your name, your location.
I'm from Texas in the United States, and I was diagnosed with POTS several years ago. But when COVID happened and it flared up, I actually didn't even know it was my POTS flaring up because no one had told me the other symptoms of it. And then I also got psoriatic arthritis from COVID as well when my POTS flared up. And then I've been a type 1 diabetic, and yeah, so.
A few things, quite a few things on your plate.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about where you were in the process when you reached out to me, when you found out about the program. What was going on for you?
Yeah, so I had gotten COVID in December, and in January I started to have tremors in my left hand. And so I went to neurologist, was kind of passed around, and then I started having really bad muscle pains, back pain, and again, like doctor to doctor, try to figure out what was going on. And I finally went to a rheumatologist who was asking me all about my history. And I was telling her all the things I was experiencing. I was having really bad fatigue, where if I went to like even the grocery store, I would basically go to sleep for 24 hours afterwards. So I would get out of breath, like even carrying the trash, doing very simple things. And so the rheumatologist said it might be my POTS flaring up. And so I started to do some research, and I couldn't get into a doctor for several months from then. And so I was feeling very desperate for help, and I just felt really lost. Like I couldn't get anyone to tell me, like, am I having these pains for these different is this related to POTS? Is this something else? And I just couldn't get any answers. And I happened to stumble across this program when I reached out to you. So yeah, I was in a pretty dark place, not only like mentally, but also just physically. I couldn't do anything hardly. So
Exactly like you mentioned, it was a physical aspect too. There were so many symptoms, and it sounded like they were changing. New ones were coming up.
mm-hmm.
Some of them were quite scary, and maybe you were thinking what other illness or what else is happening. And then on top of it too, the not knowing and not really having access or having to wait so many months to see somebody.
Yeah, and everyone I went to would tell me, a different thing, and then I would get sent somewhere else. And so I think by the time I reached out to you was end of May, June. So by this time, it had almost been 5 or 6 months that I had been searching for answers and help. So
Tell us, since then, you've accomplished a lot. So tell us a little bit about your journey, where you're at now. Yeah, give us a little bit of a picture to that.
yeah, so I started the program, and I was very excited. Pretty quickly on, like probably 2 to 3 weeks of starting the program, I started to be able to do more. I learned about pacing, and slowly as I like picked up some of the skills that were talked about in the program, I was able to do more and more as that went on. And as time passes, you don't even realize where you came from. So it was so interesting to think back to that day. But now, like, I go to the grocery. I remember the first time I went to the grocery store by myself, and I told the group, like, I went and I didn't fall asleep. I got home. I was so excited. But I figured out how to still help around the house. So, help my husband out with, our daily tasks. I kept working the whole time and figuring out how to pace myself with work. Yeah, come a long ways. There were things that I learned that not only helped my diabetes and my arthritis too, like, different vitamins that have helped those things too outside of POTS. But yeah, I thought that my life was going to be like sleeping most of the time. And I thought, what if I never get out of this? And now I don't take naps during the week, and I might take one on the weekend, one on each day. But this is a huge, huge progress. I think, yeah, when we were looking at my symptoms, they have gotten, they've decreased, all my symptoms have decreased in half. So it's been huge for me.
And in such a short amount of time, where now you
Mm-hmm.
can participate in day-to-day life and work and do some chores and go to the grocery store and participate more fully in day-to-day life. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and it helped with other aspects too, even like the mental health and all that. I had a big personal, like family thing, emergency go on with my pets are very dear to me. So with my dog and, during the program. And, I think being able to handle that and not fall back into my symptoms, I was still able to, keep progressing and handle all of those life aspects. The program helped me with all of that too, and holding everything into perspective and not letting the stress outweigh it. So it really helped me there too.
And it sounds too like you were able to juggle the work and doing parts of this program while still pacing, even while you had something personal going on, obviously with your pets.
Yes. And I think the support you get from the group is really important too. Like, you know, several people from the group were reaching out to me during that time and everything too. So there's, you get support, not only hearing other people's perspectives, but I think we've joined some bonds with several of the people in the group too.
Yeah, no, it's always really great to see that some of the friendships and bonds that do form. Because you don't really get to meet a lot of people in this situation in your day-to-day life. That's just the truth.
No, realize that like in the group there's other people that are handling multiple things besides just POTS. And I think hearing their perspectives and the different things they're going through, the different doctors' tests, that was all really helpful to the progress too. And I think you don't feel so alone. I remember feeling so alone, even though like my husband supported me and family supported me and friends. I still felt so alone because no one truly knew what it felt like. But then being in the group, I didn't, yeah, that really changed for me. I think just having that, that was a big deal to me too.
And how about, you already mentioned kind of other areas. How about your confidence, your beliefs, your mindset? How has that been impacted?
Yeah, so I think I've really learned like acceptance from where I am, where I'm at, and that, things may not go fully back to how it was before these flare up, before all this hit and came, but like acceptance with that and how my life can still be great as it is. But it's impacted other parts of my life too, like at work, I've become more confident in my job. I think too, it's flowed into that. I remind myself that like I'm doing the best I can, with everything I do. And that sometimes those other aspects of life are not worth not feeling well because I'm just adding on this stress. Like I need to, again, like accept that I can't change those things. And at the end of the day, I just try to remind myself that I did the best I could for that day. And that's what's really important. So
And that attitude also then inspired other members of the group. So it all kind of it's a nice cycle where everybody gets to inspire each other a little bit. So what would you tell somebody who maybe is thinking about joining the program, but they're not sure?
I would say definitely do it. I think that it helps in so many different ways, and it's a lot different than I finally got into my POTS specialist, and it was not what I was expecting. That kind of it didn't feel the support and everything that I needed, and honestly, a lot of the recommendations I had already heard in the program from other people or during the trainings and stuff that we've been doing, and so I think it was helpful full circle. But I think, outside of like everything that you learn about your body, about, day to day and how to process things and how to pace and diet and exercise. I think even, again, the bonds that you form and just hearing other people's perspectives is so helpful. It's not very often that you meet someone else who's going through the same things that you are. And I think that can be life-changing so you don't feel so alone and while you're going through this. And you can see that other people, like there's a couple of times where we all felt bad that week. And it would be so funny because it was like we all would feel good one week and we all would feel bad. But then you would hear about other people's perspectives and how they still made it through that week. And it would inspire you, like, you're right. Like we did feel bad, but look, we survived the week and we're here, And I think that's something you can't get, like, even if you have friends and family and everyone that supports you, just having someone else that actually feels what you feel it's a lot different. So I think you get that from it too.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that so eloquently and adding in all the different parts of it. That's true, right? It's not just one thing, it's usually multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you're well, and I would say quite well on your recovery journey, there's a few more things that you want to put in place, but you have clarity to where you want to be. You've already made huge strides. What advice would you have for somebody who is where you were 4 months ago?
I would say don't give up. There is, there's resources out there. I think sometimes you feel like you're hearing either lots of different scary things, or maybe you're not getting support from doctors and things like that. So I think there is support. I think this program is a great way to, again, build your confidence, hear about different techniques that are working for people, and different things that you can implement in your life. And it helps you full circle, not just health wise, but mental health and everything like that. But yeah, if someone stood where told me, 4 months ago that I would be able to get off the couch and I would be able to do all of this stuff, I don't know if I would have believed them, but I was willing to try anything, and I'm so glad I did. It has been really life-changing for me, and yeah, and I can't imagine not doing it. So
no, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your experiences, and I know everybody else is going to find this really, really helpful, because I'm sure there are a lot of people in the situation where you were 4 months ago. So
yeah,
thank you again.
Yes, thank you.